You know, as I stated, I've always known that I was adopted. Obviously, my parents are, you know, my whole family is white. So, you know, obviously there is something that makes you look different. My parents moved from New Rochelle, and they lived in the Schenectady area, so that there always were other minorities and more diversity. And, you know, kind of the way I ended up in this small town in upstate is my family, my grandfather actually had owned property in Lake Luzerne, and my father and uncle both received land from my grandfather, and he built a house there. It's actually pretty interesting that I've had an opportunity to be a legislator and be a part of maybe changing a law that actually would affect my own life. I never thought that there would be a time that I would ever know who my birth parents were. That was never actually something I thought about when I was younger, quite frankly. And it was until I had my own son that I was thinking about my medical history and my background. Every time I would go to the doctor, they would always ask, what is your family history? And I would say, I don't have any. There's no history. And that basically was for my whole life until I had my son, and I thought, we always talk about preventive medicine. We always talk about if you know you have a history of heart disease, diabetes, cancer, this is something that you might want to know to have preventive care, but to be able to tell your own children. That's not something I was ever able to tell my own child, my son, who's 19. And, you know, it's interesting because there is a piece of legislation currently that would allow adoptees to identify via their birth certificate who their birth parents are. We're moving into a huge technological age where laws need to move forward. And, you know, many times people think New York is a progressive state and we, you know, pass all of these great progressive laws, and this is not really progressive. This is something that back in the day, people did in secret, and everything was supposed to be a secret. And, you know, for generations, that's how families lived their lives, that everything was a secret and you don't talk about it outside the house, and that is not how we live today. Everything is public, everything's on social media, everything's on Twitter. Nothing is secret, and so there's a way in which not wanting to open everyone's life up to reality TV, but there is a way in which knowing I might have a gene that causes me to have breast cancer, I'd like to know that.